Hi, and welcome to part 3 of the BreakFree relationship series. Today, I'm going to be talking about acceptance versus expectations. What does expectations do? Expectations put a lot of pressure on the other person. They may be doing things just because you expect them to do it, but do they want to do it? Do they feel content while doing it? Does it cause anger, hurt? Whatever it is, it leads to a lot of pressure on the other, and if those expectations aren't met, leads to disappointment, right? How many times have you expected people to do something and they haven't, and you just felt really upset? But before I continue, I do have a couple of expectations which are for everyone in the world. And the first one is what I refer to as the universal expectation, and that's trust and respect. Imagine how amazing the world would be if everyone just trusted and respected each other. And the second expectation I have is of a job profile. If I'm hiring someone to be an accountant, I expect them to be good at accounting. The same way if I hire someone to be a chef, I expect them to be able to cook. So now that we're clear on some expectations, which by default should be absolutely fine, let's get back to expectations in relationships. Whether it's at colleagues at work, it's expectations in relationships at home, whichever side it's on. Leads to disappointment, leads to pressure. How many times have you gone somewhere expecting your spouse to come with you just because you're husband and wife? I used to go to watch certain movies with my wife even though I didn't want to. She would come with me for certain dinners even though she didn't want to. And that started to create some distance because we were expecting each other to do these things rather than accepting that the other may not be in the mood, or just may not like that genre of movies, or may not like the company over the dinner table. And that's when I came across this wonderful passage from Khalil Gibran in the book The Prophet. And I have a small part of that, a small paragraph extract I've taken into my book BreakFree that I'd like to read out to you. Give your hearts, but not into each other's keeping. For only the hand of life can contain your hearts. And stand together, yet not too near together, for the pillars of a temple stand apart. And the oak tree and the cypress tree grow not in each other's shadow. What I concluded after reading this amazing passage from the Prophet on marriage from Khalil Gibran is we're two individual souls on individual journeys that just happen to intertwine a lot through our commitment of marriage. And that's when our relationship started to blossom even further. Now I'm going to share one little story before we wrap this up. It was a very dear friend's 15th wedding anniversary, and I told the missus, I really would like to be on time. And at 8 p.m., I will need to leave the house. Hopefully we can leave together. It was 7:50. It was very clear that she would not be ready on time. And I said to her, sweetheart, take your time. I can't wait to see you at the party. And I went in a taxi by myself. She came about 45 minutes later, looking stunning as ever, and we had a lovely evening together. Now, if you rewind a couple of years before Khalil Gibran entered my life, sweetheart, it's time to go. Expectations resulting in higher emotion. She would probably have said something that she would regret later on. I would have said something I would regret later on. We'd be heading in a taxi on our way there, staring out the window on opposite directions, pretending to be happy while we're at the event, and then having somewhat of a miserable night. How much better is it now that Khalil has entered our life? But we communicated this, right? So even though other people may have found it strange that we showed up at different times, we both had agreed that this was fine, that we're on different journeys that intertwine a lot. So how many expectations do you have of others apart from trust and respect and obviously the job profile? And how much is that causing a rift in your relationships, pulling slowly but surely apart? And how about accepting the person so that you can once again come closer together? Thank you.